What up? It's your boy Vigilante Styles. Make sure my mic is on. So anyway, we're gonna mix this song for the Hofa 2022 Christmas Mix Contest, which is actually going to be decided in 2023 in January of who the winner is. I'm not expecting to win. It's not really about winning. It's about having something to mix for a video, you know? So I was like, yeah, I'll mix it on video. I don't know who the singers are. I don't even know the name of the song, to be honest. I've never even heard it. Like, I haven't even played it yet. I just set up the session, and I had some ideas based on how big the session is of what I want to do. This is a 41-track session. So a couple things I want to go over. First of all, we're going to be doing something, the quote-unquote NS10 hack, right? So we're going to be doing the NS10 hack. So that means if you're watching this with monitors and stuff like that, know that I'm basically focused on mid-range. So 4K, high cut, and a 200 hertz low cut. And we're going to be mixing with those frequencies, and only those frequencies is the NS10 hack. Now, also turn it down quite a bit with free balance. So I don't want, you may have to turn your video up because I'm not mixing loud. I have 4 buses. So the background vocals are going to go to a bus through the Purple Audio MC77, which is an 1176 basically. But a very specific and I guess rare piece, 1176. Into the SSL, which will be orange knob, by the way. 4000G orange knob. So I'm just, since I happen to open it up, might as well switch it to orange knob. Everything will be orange knob. I just have to, as I go, set the orange knob. I threw a de-esser over this one because it's just background vocals. I don't need to individually de-ess these. So I'm just going to kind of very, very gently de-ess them on the bus. Drum bus, we have a distressor. The trimmer afterwards, though, that's just to make sure the gain volume isn't loud going into the SSL. Reverb bus, we have FL Studio 21, by the way. If you haven't noticed, I have my theme set up the way I like it. Very SSL-like theme, by the way. And the reason why I went with that is because, well, consistency, right? I like the meters. The meters are very good, by the way. So now I changed the color of the meters to match that of an SSL console. Really cool. And some of the colors and stuff. I wish I could make the yellows on here a little brighter, like a little bit more bolder, more glowy looking, but I'm fine with them the way they are. I know it kind of looks like an off-white or a slight yellow, like a very light yellow. But that was as close as I could get to the actual color of the display on the SSL meters. So this is Luxeverb, man. This is probably the best sounding reverb in the world. And it comes with FL Studio 21, right? They don't sell this individually, which means Pro Tools will never have this. No other workstation will ever have this reverb. But it's okay, you guys can use your Lexicon reverbs or whatever the fuck. Anyway. Into the SSL. Orange knob. EQ. Here I have Fab Filter Timeless 3. That's going to be my delay. I haven't decided on what delay I wanted to do with this yet. Into the SSL. So I'm using the 4 mix buses, which is like a 4000 series console. 4 mix buses. 8, we would have an 8000 because it's the same channel strip, just 8 mix buses. But in this case, we're only using 4. Let me see anything else. I went to the main vocals here. We have a chain. This is the vocal chain. PREBOX set to new 81, which means Neve 1081. That's a Neve 1081 preamp going into a Studer tape machine at 15 IPS with Quantigy 456 tape. And then and it's set to 2-inch 16-track tape. into a DBX 160. This one from Analog Obsession, of course. Uses less CPU than the Waves one. Sounds the same. Going into the SSL, and then into a hardware de-esser. Same for the other one, right? So I'm just set our knob to orange. And then everything else is just going to get desk processing, all 41 tracks. And like I said, we're going to be bussing and we're doing a lot of stuff. So this is going to be kind of a long mix. So I don't want this to take, I don't want to talk too long because I want to get into the mix. So let's get it, man. Let's fucking get it, right? FL Studio 21, SSL 4000, G, orange knob, setup, console setup, with a little bit of outboard and bussing. Fucking great, huh? You guys ready? This is going to be another Christmas present for you guys. Hopefully it turns out good. Like I said, remember, I'm focused on the mid-range. That's all we're going to be hearing as I mix. I'll turn it off at the end. All right, here we go. Also, why am I not mixing with headphones on, and why am I mixing with in my room with quote unquote bad speakers again? I have a friend who actually has like Grammys, right? And he told me that if I don't have an ideal setup, don't sweat it. He says just mix. He said that your mixes will still be better if you mix on speakers, even if they're not great. And he says even in a room that's not perfect. He says you're better off mixing on that than in his opinion, than mixing on headphones. And especially, he said he doesn't trust the mix rooms, the virtual mix rooms. He says you're far better off just mixing with whatever speakers you got in your room. And my speakers, I mean, they're not monitors per se, but they're not bad. You know, like they're decent, and I'm used to them. And he says that's the main thing. If you're used to them, you should be able to mix okay with them. So that's why I'm mixing, by the way, without, you know, that I'm not mixing with headphones on right now. So anyway, let's continue.
try. See me fly. How much I try. Little spaceship, take me home. Oh, better take me home. Because down under this Christmas, but high above our mind, I know you are waiting, so I'll fly. Oh Lord, I try. Because little spaceship, take me home. Oh, better take me home. Because down under this Christmas, but high above our mind, I know you are waiting, so I'll
We're almost there. So now the first pass, basically, is the way I see it. It's not really the first pass, but like the first aspect of the mix is finished. I'm going to go back and do a little bit more rebalancing. I'm noticing, for one, that delay. We didn't have a use for that. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that, free up some CPU. So I'll just go ahead and rename this, call it nothing. And we'll give it a different color of something like that. Okay. And disable it. Okay. So we use 3 out of 4 mixed buses. So I'm going to do a little bit more rebalancing. And then we'll turn off the NS10 hack. Let our ears kind of reset a little bit, because we're so used to this sounding so mid-rangey that it's going to sound really scooped out at first, okay? Because you're so used to hearing it mid-rangey. If you sat through this entire mix, it's going to sound scooped out. It's going to, because you're used to the focus on the mids. So once you get rid of this, you're going to hear the bass and the treble come back, and you're going to go, whoop. Your ears are going to do that initially. And so we'll talk a little bit to try to help reset the ears, and then we'll listen to it without those things on. First thing I want to do, though, is, because the idea here is about perfecting the mid-range. That's where this thing is. I don't know what these judges are going to play this back on. Okay, they could play it on a hi-fi system. I doubt it. They could be playing it on their phone. They could be playing it on computer speakers or whatever, and just kind of checking this mix over a bunch of different things. So the idea here is that the mid-range needs to be solid. And then we can be probably a little bit pickier with the top and the bottom during mastering. But I might not. I mean, it really depends. That after, if I take this off and I hear clashing bass frequencies, I'm going to have to isolate those and really listen for which sounds are causing any kind of bass relationships that are not working out. Although there shouldn't be, because like, see here on the bass here, I didn't. I'm gonna do that now. Normally I'm just gonna cut 33 to 33 hertz, and that gets rid of anything. It's roughly 35, right? So 33, because I'm using my mouse wheel. I don't need to be picky about whether it's 33 or 35, right? Just basically close to 35. Just to, I'm going to high pass that, because I don't want that bass clashing with the kick drums and stuff. So we're just going to high pass that for safety. That's what I meant to do. I guess I didn't think about that during the mix, but I'm going to get rid of that. And I can't really think off the top of my head anything else other than just to rebalance. Well, for one, I'm going to have to record automation on the main vocal, the guy's vocal here, which is David. So the David vocal is going to have automation. I have Vocal Writer, but I don't know necessarily if Vocal Writer is the answer for this. I think I'm going to have to be hands-on with the fader writing. I don't like doing that. I do not. Actually, normally you want to ride going into a compressor. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll put Vocal Writer before the DBX. And I'm not going to do it on the background vocals. There's simply no need. I'll probably put it before David and Colinda's vocals. So we'll take Vocal Writer. Throw that bad boy in there. More processing, just what we need. I'll have to toy around with it, though, a little, to get it doing the kind of fader rides that I want. But I'll go ahead and just default throw that in there. Because his vocal is loud at times and quieter at times. Beyond that, what I can control with the compressor. So there you go. Let's mess around with this, make sure we get this thing solid.
try. See me fly. How much I try to come by. I want a holy night. I want a holy night. I want a holy night. 'Cause down on nothing's Christmas, but high above our mind. I know you are waiting, so I'm blind. Oh Lord, I try. Because down on earth it's Christmas, but high above our mind. I know you are waiting, so I fly. Oh Lord, I try. See me fly. 'Cause down on nothing's Christmas, but high above our mind. I know you are waiting, so I'm blind. Oh Lord, I try. Because down on earth it's Christmas, but high above our mind. I know you are waiting, so I fly. Oh Lord, I try. See me fly.
Have you ever heard anybody sing so passionately for a Christmas song? Holy fucking cow. Wow. They really built it out, that Christmas song, man. They are not playing. They want to win a Grammy for that shit. So, anyway, I just did a little panning, like, on the background vocals just to kind of give them a little size, you know, in the stereo field. All right, so does the NS10 hack work? Does it work? Okay, Streaky, I'm a huge fan of you, man. Does the NS10 hack work? We probably want to turn this down a little bit. Did it work? Was I able to get a really great mix focusing on the mid-range? And on a 41 track session, including with buses. Now do you see why I do a console workflow? Could you imagine trying to do this individually with different plugins? You know, go, oh, I got to pick the perfect compressor plugin for this, and I got to pick the perfect EQ plugin for this. And just sitting there and just obsessing over that for like the next week or two, you know? Forget that, man. That's cool if you want to do that, because a lot of guys like that do hip hop music and trap music and stuff. Their track counts are like less than 20, and that's why they can obsess over it. But this is a 41 track session, and I have busing, so 3 buses, 41 tracks. Overall, it's like 44 tracks of stuff going on. That's pretty big, man. Like, that's pretty big. You talk about going into like a big studio and they have like a 72 channel console. Well, half of it. So what's half of 72? It's 36, because those are mono channels. So you really have 36 stereo channels in a way. This is 41, man. This is already beyond the scope of the size of a 72 channel console. So in this case, we've reused some channels for this. But it's a big boy, man. But this one probably is going to sound decent. At least we know the mid-range is solid. God, I don't know how the rest is going to sound. I guess we might as well hear it. Here's the verdict.
Down to nothing's Christmas time, but here in space, oh God, I got a million miles to ride. Even with my hyper warp, it's hard to make it, baby, but be sure that I will try. I don't care about this crap, it's just a job I do damn right. So I burn all hydrogen, whiz as fast as light, like a shooting star through the night. Oh, what a holy night, because down under it's Christmas, but high above am I know you are waiting, so I fly. Oh Lord, I try to come by. Feeling rumbling under my feet. There's a TikTok and a hot knock. I don't care at all. Red alert, don't overheat. Doesn't matter, doesn't bother. Little spaceship, take me home. Oh, better take me home. Because down under it's Christmas, but high above am I know you are waiting, so I'll fly. Oh Lord, I try, because down under it's Christmas, but high above am I know you are waiting, so I fly. Oh Lord, I try. See me fly. How much I try to come by. Oh, what a holy night. Oh, what a holy night. Oh, what a holy night.
Well, damn. Sounds like it works, man. The fucking NS10 hack, dude. Streaky, you brilliant guy. Thank you very much for your NS10 hack. You can check it out, man. He talks about it on his channel, so go to his YouTube and check that out. It worked. It worked in my crappy room with less than ideal speakers. Don't get me wrong. I have a... they're not monitors, you know. I have the THX 2.1 system with the subwoofer. And it's not bad, you know. Like, I'm getting a fair representation of what the music should sound like. And by using the NS10 hack, I focused only on the mid-range, didn't worry about sub and top. I mean, I did, but it had to sound good with the mid-range only, you know? So you could hear, like, even what you couldn't hear. Like, so I couldn't hear the sub, but I knew that if I kicked up the sub a bit on the kick drum, it was going to sound a certain way in the spectrum I could hear. So I wanted to make sure that the mix just sounded great as I possibly could do it in the mid-range. And that mix turned out pretty decent. I mean, the top end, I don't really know if the tracks typically sounded that way. Maybe the microphones or whatever. I don't think it's the mix. And the reason why I say that, the way that the top end was on this, which is, I don't think it was bad. But, okay, newsflash, right? I've mixed a bunch of my own stuff using this method. And, where I know that my sounds have very clean top end already. So I've mixed like some of my own stuff using this method already with the plugins that you see here in the workstation that I'm using, with the way that it's set up here. And the top end always turned out really, really like pristine. So I'm kind of like, well, this top end sounds not bad, right? I mean, considering that everything here was mic'd. Everything was mic'd. I kind of was wondering if I should saturate the vocals, the main vocals, like I did, as much as I did. And then there was the other thing, thinking, should I have taken the background vocals and bust them and put the 1176 on it? I think overall the decisions that I made, and I made sure that it worked within the mid-range, it did sound good. It sounds good on everything. So when I turned that off, it didn't sound scooped. It sounded really balanced. Including the instruments were balanced well. So that was another thing. You talk about having a perfect room, right? So like having a perfect room, they said like bass traps and all sort of stuff. I didn't even worry about the bass. It had to sound good on the mid-range. That's all it had to sound good. If the low end sounded a certain way in the mid-range, then I knew that when I took that off, that the bass was going to be fine. It was going to be solid. And it sounded good. In the top end, same thing. If the top end that I could hear in the mid-range had a certain aspect to it, I knew that when I was able to hear that, the top would be good. It wouldn't be too bright. And it wasn't too bright. It was just fine. The reason they call it the NS10 hack is that's essentially what NS10s are supposed to be doing. They're mid-range, near-field monitors, focus on the mid-range. Now, you could be really picky and go, okay, now I got to hear it on mains and all this other stuff. But normally, they would just mix only on those, and you would get your mix, right? If it sounded good on those, it sounded good pretty much everywhere you played it. And that's the key to this mix in particular. Now, mastering, I'm not going to show the session on that. I'm already going to tell you what it is. It's just going to be very little adjustments to Master Assistant on Ozone. That's what it is. I'm going to run through Ozone. I'm going to set it to streaming, okay? Because I found out that there should be 1 decibel headroom. Because the reason why they leave that 1 decibel headroom is not necessarily just for Spotify's codec, but also the fact that different devices may clip. Okay? So you don't want clipping on those different devices. I'm going to leave that 1 decibel of headroom on the master. So I'm going to use streaming, and then I'm going to use tonal balance control, and I'm just going to try to make it as perfect of a curve as possible from there. Bass heavy curve, of course, because that's pop, And this sounds like a country song, kind of. So I guess I think they have a country curve, but I'm just going to follow bass heavy. We're just going to go with a pop curve. It's going to be fine. So it'll be a little boomy, but it'll be solid, And that's about it. Loudness wise, I'm going to take the Audio Engineering Society's recommendation to go for negative 16 LUFS. What? What the fuck? That's quiet. Well, so what, right? This is a mix contest. And they're going to be listening for things like that, not about who's louder. They're probably going to level match everything. So I'm going to go with Audio Engineering Society's recommendation of negative 16 LUFS with 1 decibel headroom, right? True peak. That's how I'm doing it. So it's going to be Master Assistant to get those basic things out of the way, and then I'm going to, fine tune the EQ, and then make sure that True Peak is enabled, and the loudness is set to negative 16 LUFS, which means I'm going to go into Ozone. I'm going to go into where it says that negative 14. I'm going to switch it to negative 16, and then I'm going to have it learn the parameter for negative 16 LUFS, and then I'm going to stop it there, and then it's going to be ready to go. And I don't know, I think I can upload a WAV file. I'll render a WAV and an MP3, and then see if I can upload the WAV. If I can upload the WAV file, that's what they're going to get. If not, I'll give them an MP3. So there you go. That's how the master is going to be done. I'm already telling you how I'm going to do it ahead of time. So I don't have to make a video about it. You guys already know what I'm going to do. You can try these on your own mixes. So there you go. Once again, console workflow in the box with excellent sounding, plugins that I know are solid, we also have the brand new spanking Luxeverb from FL Studio involved in this bad boy. So I know that the competition, they're all haters of FL Studio, so they're not going to have this badass reverb. They're going to have their own, but I'm telling you, man, this is the best in the box reverb I think ever. Like, this is everything. The reverbs you get in here are fucking unbelievable. Is gorgeous sounding reverb. And then going into the SSL console. Another thing too, I wanted to be a little different, right? You guys know about my thing with the orange knob, right? Because of Dr. Dre. So and his during his early 2000s, Dr. Dre, he was on an 8000. That's just a 4000 with 8 mix buses. But anyway, orange knob EQ. So I went with orange knob. They call it the Pultec EQ for the SSL console, because they tried to model the Pultec kind of style of EQ. They didn't quite match it, so it doesn't sound exactly like a real Pultec in that case. But, you know, plus Pultec didn't give you, you know, high, mid, and low mid frequencies. But nevertheless, it's a gorgeous sounding EQ, like one of the best I've heard for like these console emulations. And I'm going, God, it's amazing. So, and I go, that's another advantage, right? The way I see it, that these guys aren't using this EQ. I'm sorry, guys, but I mean, I got Pro Q3. You can't get these curves of Pro Q3. I mean, unless you sit there and just like, you know, try to go with plug-in Doctor and try to match them. Otherwise, you're not going to match them by ear. So, you know, it's just good to have the curves and you can just turn the knobs and get the sound you want out of it. So, anyhow, that's that. I'm going to print this. This is a badass motherfucker. What a good fucking mix this turned out to be. You guys can actually take part in this contest right now. It's going all through December of 2022 into January of 2023 with Hofa so HOFA contest.com. And you should see it up there, and then you can go download the tracks. You got to give them your email address, but, you know, give them whatever email, you know, give them whatever email, you know, that you feel comfortable giving them. And so that you can download these tracks, and then you can mix it yourself, and you can compete directly against me in this mix competition. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, man, I mean, my personal opinion about mixed competitions, I think that they already kind of know who's going to win. And it ain't going to be me, no matter how good this mix sounds. Okay? So I'm just telling you. We're mixing for fun, right? And of course, they're trying to put you on an email list, right? So I'm not going to tell you to do do whatever you want, you know, do whatever you want, but do what you gotta do to get the tracks, and then you can mix and upload it, and you can compare my mix versus yours, and you can do all your different stuff, you know. So anyway, and you guys got to see FL Studio 21, man. There it is in the well, not really in the flesh, but you know, there it is, right? FL Studio 21. It's the baddest mamma jamma around. I'm sorry, Pro Tools. FL Studio is finally better than you, right? By leaps and bounds. Actually, I think it's been better, but definitely by 21, it's clearly by far the most superior digital workstation out there. I don't think you can beat this. There's just no way. FL Studio, you can make beats with this thing, and the mixing is solid. Just solid. So the stock plugins sound great, and it can use your plugins as well. VST, everything works, man. Analog Obsession, no crashing. You know, wonderful, gorgeous, and stable. And you can customize it with your own themes. So you can make your own color scheme. You can turn this thing into whatever you want it to be. For me, I like that SSL look and the SSL metering, so I went with that. But you could change these meters to whatever you want. You can make this whole thing black with, you know, purple knobs and whatever. You know, you can make it all white if you want to, and make it look like Pro Tools if you want. I don't know why anybody would be that insane, but you never know. There's just some people like that. You can change this thing into whatever you want. Skin it however, well, not really skin it. You're just changing the color scheme, but I mean, it's really in-depth color scheme. Pretty awesome. Anyway, And don't forget, FL Studio owners get free updates for life. So if you don't own FL Studio 21 and you buy it now, well, guess what? When FL Studio 30 and 40 and 50 and 100 and 1 million, whichever ones come out, however long you can live, you will always be able to upgrade FL Studio at no cost. So if you buy the like I have the full version, all plugins version, right? Just get that. You only got to pay for it once, and then forever you have FL Studio. No matter how many times they upgrade this, no matter how many new plugins they slap into this thing, they always give that to you for free. I got Luxeverb for free. It cost me nothing because I already bought FL Studio 20. So, and I've upgraded 21. So that's another thing too. That's another Pro Tools killer right there, because Pro Tools, once you get on a subscription model, and pretty much every other digital workstation out there is trying to do something of that nature. And that's bullshit to me, right? This company is honest. They're good people fucking buy their software, okay? And on top of it all, like I said, they're giving you free updates for life. Free updates for life. You never have to be fucked over like Studio One, by the way, who fucked me by releasing version 6 and then made an update to version 5 and made it buggy. So that I would be pissed off and go buy version 6 and spend another $300. I'm sorry, Studio One. Fuck you. FL Studio is superior to Studio One in every way, shape, or form. So, for that, because their business model is honest. And same for Pro Tools. Fuck off to Pro Tools, right? Especially with their subscription model nowadays. Oh, you know, you got to keep an old version of Pro Tools on your computer when they didn't do that shit to people, because you might get Pro Tools sessions. But if they're giving you Pro Tools sessions with the brand new shit, it won't be compatible. So then I'd have to tell them, dude, send me your tracks. Just export your tracks. I mean, they can send me the Pro Tools session and I could probably just grab the tracks. But I'd prefer that they would just put all their takes into one, you know, track and send it that way. Just send waves. I just say, send me waves. I'm not getting into Pro Tools anymore. I'm not buying the brand new version. If you have anything before 12, then I can open your session. But if you have anything past that, I can't open your session. So, plus, once again, I probably don't have their plugins. I'm not going to go buy every plugin in the world just so, you know, I open up a Pro Tools session. That's the only reason I have Pro Tools, guys. Like, I have it just so that if you send me a Pro Tools session, I'm just going to export your session with all your plugins baked into it, and then import it into here and mix it. Because I don't want to use Pro Tools. I have plugins in here that I don't have in Pro Tools. That would be very useful for your mixes, right? I got it, like, for example, because I'm not going to make this a whole thing about talk about FL here, but I have, you know, I already have, like, I have basically New Tone is Melodyne, and Pitcher is Auto-Tune. We also have a pitch shifter, and I got vocodecs. Now I have Luxeverb, I got Vintage Phaser, I got Vintage Chorus, and I also have Stereo Shaper. Stereo Shaper is amazing. I can take like a vocal track or something, or a drum or whatever thing, and I could pan it to both. I could split it and pan it to both sides. Amazing. Not like a typical, you know, stereo widener. This thing is just boss, you know. And you don't need fuck, man. Pro Tools doesn't even have no kind of shit like that. Transient processors. I already have I don't need basically Smack Attack. I have a transient processor right here. And it's powerful, dude. Like, FL Studio's stock plugins are serious shit, man. They're not trash. So, but FL Studio doesn't make an SSL channel strip, guys. So that's why I use, and they don't make bus compressors. So they have the regular compressor, but it's not a bus compressor. And a lot of their, you know, like the EQ and the dynamic stuff, you know, it's not going to have any saturation, no tolerance modeling, none of that stuff. So, you know, for me, recreating the SSL console workflow and the sound, I'm going to use my third-party plugins. But when I need just something that can get the job done, I need a simple EQ can get the job done, I got these EQs and I can depend on them. If I need, if I need a vocoder, I can trust it. It's good. If I need auto-tune, I have it. I don't have to go buy auto-tune. It's solid. It's a great auto-tune. If I need a phaser, I don't need to buy a phaser plugin. It's got a great phaser. If I need a chorusing plugin, I want vintage chorus, a little bit of analog vibe. Vintage chorus sounds great because it's got a little saturation in vintage chorus and it sounds amazing. Just these kind of things, I don't have to go buy plugins for it, for those things. It's wonderful. Distortion plugins, for like doing guitar stuff or something, I got Destructor, I got Blood Overdrive, I got Fast Dist. I got like 3 different ones. I got Hardcore. I got basically 4 different distortions. And the one like Hardcore is very, very similar to something that Waves makes. You see? So Waves makes something like this for guitars, and FL Studio already has it, man. It's like, dude, I don't need no other shit. Their plugins are fucking amazing, and they're low CPU on top of it all. Just solid. This is just a solid workstation, period. FL Studio for the win, guys. So anyway, it's your boy Vigilante Styles, man. If you like my videos, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And until we meet again, I am out. Peace.